Welcome to my talk, an introduction to UEFN. I hope you guys have been having a good time so far at Unreal Fest. I hope you've at least heard of UEFN while you've been here, otherwise we probably haven't done our job great. Let's go over a little bit about me first as people are rolling in. I'm Josh Grant. I am a creator evangelist for UEFN and for Fortnite Creative. I've been with Epic Games for 3 years now, but before I was here, I was actually a creator in the space, like these guys, building my own games for millions of players in Fortnite. I'm really excited to talk with you all about the ecosystem, about the tools, and all the opportunity here that's out there for developers like yourselves to take a look at. So let's get into it. Like I mentioned before, we are here today to talk about the Unreal Editor for Fortnite and the overall Fortnite ecosystem. So Unreal Editor for Fortnite, or UEFN, is a development tool for building and publishing games directly into Fortnite. So Fortnite is a massive game. It's got 100 million monthly active users, and developing in Fortnite means direct access to those players who are already spending 60% of their time in creator-built content, or 60% of players are spending their time in creator-built content week by week. And so what this means is that instead of going about the traditional route of spending months to years working on a game from scratch and releasing it independently with no easy path to users, creating for Fortnite gives you a clear path to a scaled audience. And on top of that, because Fortnite and UEFN are underpinned by the powerful Unreal Engine 5, you're still enabled to work with the best of tools that you all might be familiar with. And so with Fortnite, you have the huge player base in front of you. You have tried and true professional tooling, but you also have things like publishing to all platforms that Fortnite is on. You have matchmaking and you have monetization out of the gate. So you get to focus on making a great, fun game, and when you're ready, you publish it to the world with the click of a few buttons. So let's talk more about that. We like to think of the life cycle of your game on Fortnite in 3 stages. Like I just mentioned, using UEFN, you make your game. Maybe it's a team deathmatch, maybe it's an RPG. Whatever it is, when you're ready to release it to the wild, through our creator portal, you publish your game, uploading the thumbnail, the trailer, the description, and everything else you want players to see. You promote that game however you see fit, and after players hop in, you get paid. And that's all thanks to our engagement payout program. And so just because I've laid it out here in a flywheel, it doesn't mean that all of these stages happen exclusively. Oftentimes, creators are in multiple phases all at once because the fast iteration and the publishing times and really how quickly it can be to stand up multiple games means that you can get to market, get feedback, and make improvement to your games, all while still getting paid at the same time. So that was a lot of info, and I want to slow it down and break it down and dive into each section a little more specifically. So I'm going to start with focusing on the first section here, make a game. So like I said before, UEFN is a development tool that at its core is a hybrid of Unreal Engine 5 and Fortnite Creative. And what this means is that your workflow will look a lot like it does in UE, and you'll have access to tons of familiar tools that you see on the slide here. Things like Sequencer and Control Rig, Niagara. But you'll also have a ton of unique features coming from Fortnite itself, like devices, prefabs, props, items, things like patchwork and live edit. But if you want to go truly custom, UEFN, of course, allows you to import all your own static and skeletal meshes, as well as your animations and your textures and your audio. Ultimately, your game could look just like Fortnite BR, or you can take it and make it look like something new and really capture the style of your IP that you're bringing in or you're creating in there. So this is an area where you can really start setting your game apart from everything else that people think is Fortnite. And so when it comes to creating gameplay, devices are the main entry point. Each one does something different, such as teleporting a player or granting an item, awarding XP or changing class. But these awesome little things, they stack together like building blocks, allowing you to create full, fleshed out mechanics from the start of your game to the end. And so walk with me here. If I wanted to create a search and destroy game, I could take a timed objective device, which allows players to interact with it to start or stop a timer. And I could hook this up to an explosive barrel device so that once that timer runs out, the barrel explodes. And I could connect an endgame device to the barrel, so when the barrel explodes, the game ends. And set the game winner to whoever activates that and has it explode. And so that's an entire game loop that I just set up hypothetically with 3 devices. And I could lean in, I could polish it more, I could add classes, maybe a detonation remote, but you get the idea. Devices are a great way to start creating gameplay. So we're gonna look here a little and see really how fast it is to just stand up a game. I'm building a capture the flag here in this demo I've recorded. Obviously it's sped up, but it really is just a very quick way to get to market. So you see me here, I've got my spawn pads. This is where players are gonna spawn when they join the game. I've set 1 to team 1, the blue one, and 1 to team 2, the red one. And now I'm in the content browser, I'm dragging out other devices. So I've brought out a capture zone area and a capture item spawner. So the capture item spawner, I'm gonna put a flag in, you'll see here. That's what players are gonna pick up. And the capture zone area is where players are gonna drop off their flag. And so in the details panel is where we keep all of these settings here. Stuff like HUD elements, you'll see I'm putting a badge on. And once I've set up those details to what I want, I copy them over. I'm gonna have to change some things because these are still team 1 devices. So I'm gonna have to, really just set them to team 2 and change their color to red, which you see me doing here. Okay, finally, I'm gonna want to put a HUD device so that when they pick up a flag, the team is alerted that the opposition picked up their flag. So I threw my HUD device down, and all of this is really baked in, so I'm just gonna change the text color and where it's gonna be on the screen. I typed in blue flag captured, and then I just need to connect it. So I'm gonna do that. This is our event system. This is me saying that the HUD device is going to show when the capture item spawner has an item picked up. And I'm doing the same thing for the red flag and just changing the color and the text that's shown. All right. And so once I'm done with this HUD, the last thing I need to do is set up a way for the players to get their weapons. So there's a ton of ways to do that. I'm gonna go the simple route and set up some teams using the team settings and inventory device. So here I can name the teams, I can choose their colors, but I can also add the weapons that they'd hold or the items that they hold as soon as they spawn in or change to that team or however your system works for getting players to each team. So I added in a revolver, I'm adding in a shotgun, I'm adding in a hunting rifle and some dynamite, have a little Western theme for this capture the flag. And after I've done that, I'm copying it over just like I did the other ones, and that's it. That's a game loop set up with these devices just like that. Now, you can extend that game logic with verse. So you'll see here on the right-hand side, I'm gonna drop this in just a minute. Because with verse, if devices aren't enough control for you, this is where you wanna go. It's a brand new coding language, and it's designed to not only be the future of Fortnite, but eventually for broader game dev. It's proven great for writing real-time, open-world, multiplayer games with an overall emphasis on gameplay. So it uses the best of functional programming, object-oriented programming, and imperative programming, and combines them into a language that our creators have come to love. And you can combine verse with those devices I was using to really push the boundaries of what may have initially seemed possible as I was walking you through that demo. So let's take a look at me dropping this in. So my goal with this verse code is to make a way, an easy way, to figure out if a player is holding the flag, because if they are, I want them to glow. I want them to be obvious where they are on the map so the other team can find them. Now, I could probably set this up with devices, but it'd be a little janky, it wouldn't be as certain. I want to make sure, very simply, that if a player is holding the flag, versus reading that and applying a glow to them. So these devices I dropped in were what's going to affect the glow. I can change the color on them and how they appear. But this is me creating the verse device where I'll throw in that code and then connect those other devices too. So you'll see in my content here, I'm going to drag and drop it into the world. It takes a little bit to load. I got to build it. And then I should be able to drop it in any moment now. There it is. OK, so with this, you'll see in the details panel, unlike all of our other devices, there's nothing in there. Because with a verse device, you're setting that up for yourself. You're determining what is in the details panel, what you can hook up, and what this device is doing. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to open up VS Code by clicking our verse button there. And that's going to bring it over. I'll drag it over. And this is just kind of the default stuff we have here. So I need to select it all and throw my other verse code in. And really, that's one of the great things about Verse is it's been built to be very shareable so that people can go and write their own verse code and other creators can go and drop it into their game and hook some devices up to it and it'll just work. So you'll see me here. That's what I'm doing. I had a friend of mine write this verse code because I'm not a coder myself. And I can use it to make this device that then I can plug into with the other stuff that I do know how to use. So yeah, like I said, my goal here with that verse code, it's just reading for whether the player is holding the item I determine it should be holding. And then this is me. Now in the details panel, you'll see we've surfaced some editables. So that's me hooking up those visual effect power-ups. And then I've also got a spot here to hook up the capture flags. And that's what I'll do there. I've determined what device can be in there, so it's very easy to find them. All right, and then we should be good. So that's me hitting the launch session button, and that's going to bring up Fortnite, and that's going to let me test it out. I'll disclaim here, it is not that fast. I sped that up. But this is me in Fortnite, and this is me testing it. I pick up the flag, the HUD comes up, I glow, I drop it off, I'm no longer glowing. Pick up the flag, HUD comes up, I glow, drop it off, I'm not. And I've set the game to end after 3 points, and I'm giving a point for each time you put the flag in, and it ends. All right. So aside from devices and aside from Verse, also unique to UEFN is our new scene graph system, which is, essentially, it's a workflow for organizing, grouping, and layering assets, as well as interacting with them at runtime using Verse. It's still in experimental mode, meaning you can go and use it right now, but you can't yet publish the experiences you've made with it. We're hoping to release the beta for that before the end of the year. So the great news is that scene graph inside UEFN is just the first step. It's a tool that we're heavily invested in, and we plan to bring to Unreal Engine as well. So I got some examples here to give you a better idea. So like I said, scene graph is a new component-based system which allows you developers to significantly speed up your workflow by creating prefabs out of entities in your game like you see here. And so with these prefabs, you can make changes at the base level that will apply to all instances. So turning off the lights of the base prefab here is going to turn them off for all the instances. You'll see I've changed the colors, looks like the lights are off, and watch this as I click save, it's going to turn them off for all of them. That alone you can see, okay, this will help speed up the workflow. It gets a little cooler. So changes can be layered on by editing the prefabs directly in the level. And so when we raise and we turn these roofs here, obviously these houses look different now. But when we go to edit the base prefab, as in the outliner, I bring up this prefab. Here we are, this is the base prefab. When I go to edit this, I'll raise the roof here, and I'll put a little slant on it. And then just like I did before with the lights, I'm going to click save, and you'll see that it layers it. Okay. Now you're probably starting to get a little more. This really would help speed up the workflow. But it gets a lot cooler. This is seriously just all kind of workflow focused. It gets a lot cooler when you start using Verse to directly edit components of the prefab at runtime. There's a great opportunity here for you guys to learn a system that will not only, like I said, speed up your workflow, make it more advanced, but get in early on a tool that is coming to Unreal Engine as well. We have a booth dedicated towards it down on the expo level. It's with the Unreal Editor for Fortnite booths, and Curtis there is the mastermind behind Scene Graph. So if you have questions about it, he's the guy to go talk to. All right. Another amazing tool worth mentioning is Patchwork, which is our fun solution for introducing music creation right in your island. Patchwork is a bundle of devices that all do different music-related things, such as create drum beats, or add instruments, or add reverb. You get it. The great thing about Patchwork is it ties directly into our event system in UEFN. And that means you can make your music react to things like device actions, like I mentioned earlier. So in that capture the flag we were making, perhaps your music gets a little more intense the second that your flag is stolen. So say when the capture item spawner is interacted with, a drum device turns on, or the volume increases, or the beat gets a little faster. From my personal experience, I'll just say this. I'm not a music guy, as in, I love music, I love it to death, but I know nothing when it comes to making it. What helps, though, is that I do know what sounds good, to me at least. And so using Patchwork, being able to play with it in real time, plug these music devices into each other, and listen on a loop how it changes, and be able to iteratively figure out how to make something that sounds good, it's been really special. They're just fun to use. Even if you don't end up making a game with them, they're really fun to just sit and mess around with for hours, so I really recommend checking it out. It's pretty cool. We're heavily invested in it. We have the awesome team at Harmonix doing all the development behind it. They're great, and we're constantly coming out with new stuff to make this tool better. Okay, so as you're doing all of this wonderful gameplay development, it never hurts to test with your friends to make sure that your game is working, because nobody wants to finish their mechanics and realize that it's all broken. So luckily, that's what LiveEdit is for. LiveEdit allows you to playtest and view things from the exact perspective and in the exact environment that the game will take place in. And because this all takes place in Fortnite, it means that you and your friends, your teammates, can hop right into the same game session just by launching Fortnite and joining your party. And as long as their permissions are set in Creator Portal to be allowed to do so, they can go in and start making changes in that world that will reflect instantly in your UEFN edit session. But that's not the only way to collaborate with partners. No, UEFN also has its own revision control system. We call it URC, or Unreal Revision Control. Now, URC acts like any other source control system, as in it allows you to check out assets and check in changes while working collaboratively with the team. The thing is, it all takes place right in the editor, which makes it really, really, really easy. It makes it a fast and collaborative experience with your teammates. And so if I'm just adding a building to my game and I want my teammate to take a look, it's as easy as going to the bottom right corner and clicking check-in changes, and my teammate, within a second, going to the bottom right corner and clicking sync changes. And just as it loads really quickly, they're going to see a building on their end. So Unreal Revision Control is really, really powerful. But we don't want to lock you to it. And so if you're into Perf Wars, you're already set up there, it's really easy to just go to this, the revision control settings and switch to Perf Wars. We've integrated there as well. So, but I really recommend checking Unreal Revision Control, especially right now for lighter projects where you don't need all the super powerful, complicated Perf Wars things. Unreal Revision Control makes it really, really easy to just start doing things with a teammate. And like Scene Graph and like Verse, URC is another tool that we're heavily invested in. And so not just for UEFN, Revision Control, Unreal Revision Control will be making its way to Unreal Engine as a whole at some point. We're constantly working on the system, making it more advanced. We just launched Notes in URC, which is, it's really cool. It allows you to place notes live around your island, and your teammates will see them instantly as it goes up. And so we've created kind of a semi like task-based system now with this notes system. You can pull up the notes panel. It'll have a screenshot of the area you've left your note in. You can assign it to teammates. And again, it's just another way we're trying to make Unreal Editor for Fortnite just a collaborative experience and make it, as iterative as it can be. Okay, so with all those tools, let's talk a little bit about what you can make. The tools in UEFN, they really set you up for success in that there's a massive range of games that you can possibly make. You can make combat modes, which really play great with the Battle Royale weapons and mechanics, or you can create scary horror games, or tycoons with deep progression systems, or you can combine the two and make fun zombie modes, or go in an entirely different path and make traditional side scrollers. The direction is entirely up to you. It's really a question of how far your creativity can take you when it comes to these tools. I was telling these guys at the front earlier, if you're willing to stick to an idea long enough and you're passionate about it enough, you'll get a product. It might not be what you originally envisioned, but the tools are great because there's just so many ways you can combine things to get what you want. And even if it's not the best workflow at the time, it's probably something we're working on. But you can get these cool end products that nobody else has discovered. One, because it's a new tool and we're in a new space. But two, just because there's so many different ways to reach the same product or a different product. It's hard to put a number on the different types of genres you can explore because it's really endless. I've got a video here just to show off some cool islands. All right. So let's talk roadmap. This is this year's roadmap, and so most of it has already gone by. But I thought it would be a good overview for where we are and how we got to where we are, and also just give a good overview of some new tools that you guys might not have heard about. So this was Q1. Things like verse persistence came out, orbit camera, custom NPCs, input triggers, and they've all gone a long way to leveling up the quality and the complexity of games that you can make in Fortnite. In Q2, we put out Scene Graph, of course, and then also features like Notes that I mentioned, and the Spatial Profiler to help with size optimization. Now, in Q3, we released a lot more. We released cool camera features like the orthographic camera, the side scroller control device, some improvements to the orbit camera to really let you customize and set your games apart from the classic third-person shooter. Going back to Patchwork, we released the Song Sync device to allow you to work with MIDI files and incorporate those directly into gameplay and other Patchwork devices. And then another exciting one was the Creator Profile device, which allows you to send players to your Creator Profile, find your social handles, find your other islands. We've also just recently launched Proximity Chat, which has led to some really cool social islands. And long requested, hasn't been released yet, but we're working on the ability to use UEFN during Fortnite's downtime. Okay, and then looking ahead at Q4, we've got some incredibly exciting features like physics, like first person mode, which just released the other day, and text chat, which is coming out. These are all pretty self-explanatory, but they're huge features that are really going to redefine what UEFN games are and can be. Yeah, Thin Client, you'll see there, that's a nice one. That's an initiative to help lower the barrier of entry to getting into Fortnite. So we recognize that Fortnite's a really big game. It has so much stuff in it. It is a game full of games. And so our goal with Thin Client is to get people into Fortnite faster, splitting things up, making it so you're not downloading everything at once, making it able, more accessible to get into UEFN games if you just want to go play a UEFN game. favorite a creator, which will, this is going to help with developing and retaining an audience. I don't have a lot to say here, but there is a Discover talk happening tomorrow. It's at 11:45 a.m. And I highly suggest you all go to that to learn more about discoverability in the ecosystem in general, but also to see things like the favorite a creator system yourself. So all in all, we've still got great tools coming your way before the end of the year. It's really neat working in a tool that's constantly growing and becoming better. You get to learn these things as you come along instead of having it all dumped on you at the start. So I highly recommend you get in now as we keep releasing new things so that you can keep learning these new things as they come out. And if any of those roadmap items interested you and you want to get your hands on new features as soon as possible, you're in luck. We just recently announced the Creator Feedback Program, giving creators an opportunity to be a part of focus groups and provide feedback on upcoming features, tools, and updates before they're released to the public. So getting started is easy. You just need to fill out an application and tell us a bit about yourself, your background, and why you're excited to join the program. Our team will review your application, and then we'll reach out to selected participants. That's the link there. You can take a picture if you're interested. Sweet. Okay. So after you've used all of those tools and more to make your game, it's finally time to publish it to users across Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC, Android, iOS in Europe, and more. The first step to publishing is ensuring that you're signed up for our Island Creator and Engagement Program. So you can head over to create.fortnite.com to get started. Once you've entered the program, the Creator Portal will be your one-stop shop for everything you need as a creator, whether that be publishing, building your creator page, managing a team. It'll all happen in this Creator Portal. Okay, so more on publishing. You're all set up now. You've joined the Island Creator Program, and you're approaching its release. But before you send it out to the world, on Creator Portal, you'll be able to routinely playtest your game by creating private codes or creating playtest groups. And once you've tested it as best you possibly can, and you're looking ready to release it, then Creator Portal will ask you to fill out some information about your game, such as the game title, a description, a thumbnail, and a trailer. Here, you'll also apply tags that will help players, understand and identify what your game is. And then once that information is filled out, the last step is completing an IARC survey to ensure that your game aligns with one of the various approved ratings in Fortnite. Once you've done that, you submit your game and it's off to our content reviewers who determine that it's following Fortnite's Island Creator rules. This tends to take under a couple hours. It should never take more than a day. And then after that, it's ready to go live. Now, once your island is out there, you can and you should continue to iterate and manage your island's version, its thumbnail, and its trailer from the Creator Portal. Players want to see your game improve. Fortnite is a live service game, and so players want that game where they can keep coming back, where there's new things. It also gives you an opportunity to, re-advertise, put another marketing beat out there, bring players back in. All right. And then now that your game is live, it's time to get players on board. Now there are a ton of ways to go about marketing and getting players into your game, but at the core of it all is Discover. And Discover is our island browser directly in the Fortnite lobby. So when you load up Fortnite, this is what you see. It's the main way that players go and find games in the ecosystem. It's sourced by algorithmic rows based on a number of factors, but separated into categories like most engaging or practice. There is an exception to this, which is our hand-curated row called Epic Picks. We use Epic Picks to highlight really innovative, cool experiences in the ecosystem, and so I encourage you all to apply to it when you've got that great game developed. But Discover isn't the only way that players find your game. They can totally search for it. If they have the name or the island code, they go to the search bar, they'll search it up, and they can find you there. They can also find you from your creator profile. So there are plenty of ways to go about it. To get your players searching for your game and have it surfacing in Discover, really we highly recommend that you come in, like anything, with a great marketing strategy. Whether that be social media or influencer campaigns, bringing players directly to your game will only help it succeed. And so after you've started gaining some traction, you're going to want to leverage all the available Island analytics to help you build a strong game that keeps players coming back. Data is pulled daily to give you a look at the number of players that are visiting, how long they're sticking around, how many return. And on top of that, we've just recently-ish introduced niche analytics based on other metrics that we look at for engagement payout, like playtime surrounding V-Bucks spent, or new players to Fortnite, players returning to Fortnite after some time away. The team working on analytics is amazing. They're so dedicated. They're constantly pushing out new thing after new thing after new thing. And so, we're really invested in helping creators drive analytics to make better gameplay. And so after you've made your game, after you've published your game and it's gained some traction, the next step is getting paid. And so when it comes to monetization, our goal is to allow you as a developer to focus on making a fun, retentive, and engaging experience while we pay according to your impact in the ecosystem. And so engagement payouts proportionally distribute 40% of the net revenue from Fortnite's item shops and most real money Fortnite purchases to creators of eligible islands and experiences. And to further support developers who choose to work in UEFN, the Epic Mega Grants program, it's here to help future-oriented teams learn and launch new experiences using UEFN and, of course, using UE. And so we highly encourage you all to look into the Mega Grants program. It's an awesome resource that we have to help mitigate some of that overhead that might be involved with dedicating resources to making UEFN projects. And so if you have any questions about that, please feel free to ask during the Q&A portion or come meet me at the UEFN booth tomorrow. I'd love to talk. All right, that's all I've got. UEFN is available on PC, and you can download it right from the Epic Games store. Thank you.